biography, work, and messages of great personalities can inspire anyone. The life, work, and motives of national leader can provide better insight to nation history that will help us to visualize the present working as well as bright future. One such great personality in Indian freedom struggle and post-independent development is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, B.R. Ambedkar, was born on 14th April 1891 and he left this world on 6th of December 1956. He was a great Indian jurist, economist, social reformer, and most importantly, a learned and aggressive political leader of deprived class of our society, Dalits, backwards, and women. He headed the committee which drafted the Constitution of Independent India. He also served as first Law and Justice Minister in the cabinet of Jawaharlal Nehru. And in his last time, he also inspired the Dalit Buddhist movement when he renounced Hinduism and converted into a Buddhist. Ambedkar was born in Meher Dalit caste on 14th of April 1891 in the town Mahu, now officially known as Dr. Ambedkar Nagar in Madhya Pradesh. As of social culture condition of that time, his family, being Dalit, was treated as untouchable and subjected to several type of socio-economic discrimination. Ambedkar and other untouchable children were segregated and humiliated by his other high caste school fellow students. They were not allowed to sit inside the class, so Ambedkar and other Dalit student has to sit outside to learn and understand what education is going on in the class. The original surname of Bhimrao Ramji was Sakpal, as his father name was Ramji Baloji Sakpal. But his father registered the surname of Bhimrao as Amdavekar, as per the Marathi tradition of place from which the family hails, and a gentle Marathi Brahmin teacher, Krishnaji Kesav Ambedkar, who witnessed the zeal of Bhimrao for education and learning, had changed the surname of Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar to his own surname Ambedkar, and in school records BR will be named as Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar onwards. In 1897, Ambedkar with his family moved to Mumbai, and here in Mumbai, when Ambedkar got enrolled in Elphinstone High School, he was the only untouchable student in that school, and in 1907, he passed his matriculation examination and entered Elphinstone College, which was affiliated to University of Mumbai, and by 1912, he obtained his degree of Economics and Political Science from Bombay University. At the age of 22, after graduation in the year 1930, Ambedkar applied and awarded a scholarship by the then Baroda ruler Syajirao Gaikwad. By that scholarship, he went to Columbia University in New York City and passed his MA exam in June 1915. And from the same Columbia University, he received his PhD degree in economics. In the meantime, he also completed DSc in economics from University of London and pursued the study of law and become barrister in 1922 in London. Now, after completion of his studies and scholarship period, he returned back to India and joined Baroda Public Service to Gaikwad ruler family, but had to quit in a short time as he was ill-treated by his high caste colleagues, so he has to struggle for livelihood, and he pursued several small assignments as economist, a teaching professor, or even as a lawyer. Ultimately, he became a professor of political economy in the Sydenham College in Mumbai. Simultaneously, Ambedkar started law practice, and in one occasion, he successfully defended 3 non-Brahmin leaders from some heavy penalties. And this course generated some political awareness of Ambedkar in Dalit community. Now Ambedkar has started devoting more and more time and efforts to his political activities. He by chance become involved in campaigning and negotiation for partition of Hindustan and Pakistan as advocated by Mr. Jinnah. He has also published some journals and newspaper devoted to political activities. He also start advocating political rights and social freedoms for Dalits and backwards. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar strongly advocated for special representation of Dalits in legislative councils of the then British government for India. He understood the problems of Dalits and he also tried to promote education among untouchables, and he tried to uplift them from great deprived conditions. He established Bahishkar Hitkarni Sabha for the defense of Dalit rights. He also started many newspaper periodicals like Muknayak, Bahishkrit Bharat and Janta Samanta. In 1925, British government has set all European Simon Commissions without any Indian representation. All over the nation, people and especially Congress boycotted that Simon Commission, but Ambedkar himself wrote a separate set of recommendations for the future Constitution of India and submitted those recommendations and even participated in the activity of Simon Commission. By 1927, Ambedkar has decided to launch active movement against untouchability. He began with public movements and lead marches to open up public drinking water resources. He also began a great struggle for the right of Dalit to enter Hindu temples. By aggrieved with the continuous opposition and depression of Dalits in late 1927, Ambedkar publicly condemned the classical Hindu text, the Manu Smriti, which advocate depressed condition of Dalits. In 1932, the British colonial government announced the formation of a separate electorate for depressed classes in its controversial communal award, where depressed backward classes can cast two votes, one for general candidate and second for their Dalit representative, and Ambedkar supported this proposal. But Mahatma Gandhi and Congress together fiercely opposed this separate electorate systems of communal award, and in protest, Gandhi went on fasting unto death while he was in imprisonment in Yarwada Central Jail of Pune. And by that fasting, Gandhi was just near death position. And in such grave circumstances, Madan Mohan Malviya and Palwankar Ballu organized a joint meeting with Ambedkar and his supporters at Yarwada along with Gandhi. And on 25th September 1932, the agreement known as Poona Pact was signed between Ambedkar, who represented the depressed Dalit class among Hindus, and Madan Mohan Malviya on behalf of other Hindus. Now this Poona Pact or agreement gave increased number of reserved seats for depressed class, and that depressed class later on named as Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe under India Act 1935. So by the Act, SC and ST will get increased number of reserved seat in the provisional legislature within the general electorate. They won't have to cast two votes in a single general electorate system in at selected seats position. All people can select Dalit representative. So in Pune Act, a unified electorate was in principle formed, but it gave increased representation to Dalit in provisional legislatures, and definitely Pune Act become a symbolic mark to start the movement against untouchability within the Indian national movement. In 1935, people have recognized academic excellence of Ambedkar, and B.R. Ambedkar was appointed as Principal of Government Law College, Bombay. Ambedkar constructed a house for himself in Bombay, and in that house he had a personal library with a stock of more than 50,000 books of his liking, and this collection of books clearly indicate interest and affection of Ambedkar with knowledge and learning. In its political activity in 1936, Ambedkar founded a political party as Independent Labour Party, which also contested the 1936 local Bombay election to Centre Legislative Assembly, and produce very successful results. On 15th May 1936, Ambedkar published his famous book Annihilation of Caste. In that book, he strongly criticized orthodox people and religious leaders for the prevailing caste system in Hindu society. During the same period, Ambedkar also fought against the Khoti system that prevalent in Konkan, and he abolished the Khoti system in 1937, where Khots or government revenue collector regularly exploit farmer and tenants, and Ambedkar effort has abolished that bad Khoth system practice. In 1947, on 15 August, India got its independence from British rule, and on recommendation of Mahatma Gandhi, Nehru invited Ambedkar to serve as first law minister in Nehru cabinet, and just after 2 weeks of that cabinet formation, Ambedkar was also appointed as chairman for the drafting committee of Constitution of India for our great republic. Ambedkar took a leading role and great part in the framing of great Indian constitution. Our Indian constitution guarantees and protect wide range of civil liberties for individuals. Ambedkar and his teammate believe that civil rights are very essential component of any vibrant democracy, and in our constitution civil rights provide guarantee of equal social opportunities, equal protection under law, irrespective of regardless of race, religion or other personal characteristic. Our constitution outlaw all form of discrimination and strongly abolish untouchability. Ambedkar in Constitution Committee also argued for extensive economic and social right for depressed women and other backward classes, and he ultimately won the valuable support of Assembly of Constitution Sabha for introduction of a system of reservation of jobs in all sort of civil services, education of school and colleges, and in political representations for members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe as well as other backward classes. Now this provision of reservation in Indian constitution become a great measure to eradicate the socio-economic inequalities and the lack of opportunities hindering the contribution of India's depressed classes, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, other backward classes. Apart from contribution in lawmaking and constitution framing, Ambedkar was also a great economist. He was the first Indian to pursue a doctorate in economics abroad in Columbia University, and he strongly advocated that for growth of Indian economy, the balanced growth of both industrialization and agriculture sector is necessary. He strongly advocated increased investment in agriculture sector as it is our primary sector of economic growth. He played an important role in land reform in independent India. He also advocated national policy for family planning. He emphasized equal rights for women for economic development of independent India. Ambedkar presented his idea to Hilton Young Commission, and on that ideas, India has framed the Reserve Bank of India as bankers of banks. Though after independence, there was a significant role of B.R. Ambedkar in functioning of first Indian government, but due to disagreement with existing Congress leader and feeling of lack of influence in government decision making, he resigned in 1951, and after resignation, Ambedkar contested in first Indian general election in 1952 and again in a Lok Sabha by-election in 1954, but he lost popular vote in both those cases. In 1955, he founded Bharatiya Buddha Mahasabha, and on 14th October 1956, Ambedkar organized a formal public ceremony for not only himself but his supporter in Nagpur, and in that public ceremony he renounced Hinduism and became a Buddhist, and he accepted 3 refuges and 5 precepts from a Buddhist monk in a traditional manner and become a Buddhist. This movement of Bharatiya Buddha Mahasabha resulted in conversion of so many Dalit Hindus into Buddhist religious philosophy. Since 1948, Ambedkar had problem of diabetes, and in 1955 his health worsened to a great extent, and in 1956 month of December, when he completed his final manuscript, the Buddha and his Dharma, just after completion of that manuscript, in 3 days Ambedkar died in his sleep at his home in Delhi on 6th December 1956. It was a great mourning and sorrow state for all his followers, and in those circumstances number of unfinished typescript, even handwritten drafts were found among Ambedkar's notes and papers, and using those drafted scripts, an autobiographical work of B.R. Ambedkar, Waiting for a Visa, was published, and a great book, Untouchable, is published. To remember the contribution of Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar in the building of Indian nation, a memorial for Ambedkar was established in his Delhi house at 26 Alipur Road, and people regularly visit that memorial and pay their tributes. His birthday, 14th April, is known as Ambedkar Jayanti, and his followers observe that day as Bhim Jayanti, and nation observe a public holiday in honor of great Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. He was, after his death, posthumously awarded the highest Indian civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, in 1990. His social political thoughts, concern for deprived society, especially women, are respected all across the political spectrum. Ambedkar passionately believed in individual freedom and strongly criticized the caste-based society prevailed in our nation. To honor credential of Ambedkar for Indian parliamentary system, on 2nd April 1967, a 12-feet tall bronze statue of Ambedkar was installed in Parliament of India facing Parliament. On 12th April 1990, a portrait of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is put in the most prestigious position, Central Hall of Parliament House. The nation honored B.R. Ambedkar by naming various public institutions of repute on his name. We have Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar International Airport in Nagpur. The National Institute of Technology Jalandhar is known as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar National Institute of Technology, and likewise we have a great B.R. Ambedkar University in Delhi, and there are lot many institutes named after B.R. Ambedkar just to honor him. The state government of Maharashtra has acquired that house where Ambedkar lived during his study days, and this house was converted into a museum memorial to Ambedkar. People recognize the contribution of B.R. Ambedkar, and on his birth anniversary, 14th April, death anniversary, 6th December, and the famous Dhammachakra Parivartan Divas, 14th October, at several places people gather together and pay their sincere homage to him, and they recognize the message which Ambedkar has given to his followers, that they must educate themselves, agitate for their rights, and remain always organized.